Hey, this is Block 8, Pax Americana, Section 2. The Cold War begins with the section beginning the Yalta Conference. The seeds of the Cold War are found, the seeds of the Cold War are found in the fact that the United States and Great Britain don't like the Soviet Union, and the Soviet Union don't like the United States, that their systems of government and economy are just so different. Their philosophical beliefs are so different from each other. There was bound to be conflict. But the post-war conflict saw its seeds in Yalta of 1945. And as we talked about in Block 7, Yalta was a meeting between Roosevelt, Churchill, and Stalin, the last meeting of the big three to make final war plans, arrange the fate of Germany after the war, and to discuss a successor body to the League of Nations. What they announced they were going to do was divide Germany into 3 sections, and we're going to see those sections a little bit later on in the block. And each of those 3 powers would govern and control one of those sections. There'd be a Soviet section, a British section, and an American section. Although later on, peace would be carved out of the Western Allies and given to France. But the idea was that that the victorious powers would govern these sections of Germany for a time, and then hand them back over to a unified German government that promised not to go march around killing people anymore. The Soviets at Yalta also agreed to enter the war against Japan in exchange for some territory. But the biggest issue during the conference was what to do with the countries of Eastern Europe. For Britain especially, Poland was a matter of honor, that the British had gone to war for Poland, and that free and fair elections in Poland were very important to Churchill. And Churchill was very concerned that the nations of Eastern Europe would simply be exchanging Nazi domination for Soviet domination. Roosevelt does not ally himself with Churchill on this particularly, and tries to smooth things over. In any case, as important to the Western Allies as free and fair elections in Eastern Europe were, the fact that the Red Army was sitting there and was not going anywhere made it a moot point. Churchill always blamed Roosevelt for not pushing Stalin harder, and was angry at Roosevelt for what he saw as his softness on communism. Angry to the point that Churchill did not go to Roosevelt's funeral in April of 1945 after he had gone to the United States many times during the war to visit President Roosevelt. He did not go for his funeral. So that was Yalta, and it set up kind of the basic structure of the post-war world, and also kind of set up this distrust between the Allies.